Hello, welcome to Date Night with Martina. For those of you who may not know me yet, I know a lot of people have been sharing this with friends and friends of friends. So for those who don't know me yet, my name is Martina Hughes and I'm the creator of Tantric Blossoming. And what I do is support men and women to connect more deeply with their bodies, to open their hearts, to be able to express who they are, and to create much more meaningful relationships. I've been doing this for the last 15 years via private sessions, workshops, retreats and training, and it truly is a delight and a joy to work with people in all those ways. Hello, Luke, welcome. Who else is here? Robin's here, Nina's here, Lauren's here. Welcome, welcome. I'm looking forward to another date night, and we're continuing tonight with the topic of men leading in relationships, and also weaving into that women trusting men more deeply and what that even looks like, because trust is part of the essential ingredient to even inspire a man to lead. And if we don't offer trust, then where's the inspiration? Where's the motivation for a man? Somebody who is being watched, their every move being micromanaged or examined, is not going to feel inspired to take action, to take lead, to create direction. So we'll look at trust a little more, and I'll give you a couple of simple tips for tuning in to whether you're being in the masculine or the feminine energy when it comes to the creation of your relationship. And there'll be some space towards the end for Q&A. We did have quite a long session last week, so I'm going to keep tonight a little bit shorter. I can feel the effects of winter coming on and my body's starting to feel a little bit tired, so definitely needing some rest. And hello everyone from Hades, big grumpy cat. No, he's not going to turn and say hello now. He's just like, mind your own business, everyone. I'm making myself comfortable here. So yes, he'll be here in support of all of us energetically. So how are you feeling on this Wednesday night? I'd love to hear from some of you. Have you been practicing the things I've been sharing? Is it working in your life? Is it not working? Are you feeling good about it? Are you feeling challenged by it? If you're here for the first time, also let me know it's your first time. And yeah, just generally how you're feeling. Personally, for me, as I said, I'm a little bit tired tonight, and at the same time also quite excited and happy to be here with you all again. We're getting some really, really amazing feedback and great communication around this event. And I'm also really excited that this Saturday I kick off Date Night for Singles. So what Date Night for Singles is, there'll be some discussion around dating and relationships and how to really be your full, authentic and best self when you're dating, and not kind of your best self from the point of view of putting on a show, but really being fully authentically you when you're dating, so that you have the opportunity to really create the kind of relationship that you desire in your life. So we'll have a look at dating tips, some relationship tips, how to become more aware of who you're being in relationships, and then I'll lead you through some energetic practices that you can do. It will all be on Zoom, so it doesn't matter where you live, you can still participate, but you'll be paired up. And we'll use some Zoom rooms so that there's like separate breakouts, so you can have discussions with other people, but also practice energetic experiences, and you have the opportunity to meet some new people. At this stage, we've got around 6 or 7 women booked in, so we've only got 3 spots for women, and we've got about 5 4 or 5 men booked in, so another 5 spots for men, but I'm pretty confident that will book out by Saturday. So if you are interested, get booked in ASAP. Okay, let's see. Hi Lindy, hi Yale, Greg, hello, Andrew, Amy Louise, Helen and me sending love to you and Rod. Awesome, great to have you here, Helen and Andy. Melissa says it's cold, so cold. Luke says patience when dating, as in you need to have more patience or you want to have patience. I'm not sure what that means, Luke. Greg, magical time of the year, feeling awesome. Astrid, wonderful to see you feeling good. Beautiful. Astrid's joining us all the way from Berlin. I know Nina is and also from Europe, so we have a few people from around the world joining us, which is beautiful to see. There we are. Nina says, feeling good today. I'm very focused. Love it. For me, it's spring, but it's still cold. Yeah, it's getting very, very wintry down here in southern Australia. So definitely time for heaters and hot water bottles and all that kind of thing. Okay, let's move into our first practice tonight. So make yourself comfortable and close your eyes and take some deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Feeling yourself relaxing more deeply into your body with each breath. Releasing any tension in your buttocks, your hips, your groin, your pelvis. And letting yourself sink down into your body. Breathing into your belly. Unraveling any tension in the belly, in the back, in the shoulders. Releasing through the neck, through the arms, through the hands, taking some deep breaths and letting go. Releasing through the head, through your face, and just letting your body be as soft as it can be. Letting your body be open to receive, letting yourself be curious, and holding your body in such a way that the words come in and whatever resonates for you lands, and whatever doesn't resonate can simply fall away. And then gently have a stretch, open your eyes, and come back to the Facebook Live space. Welcome Carlo, welcome Gail, welcome Peter, hi Ali, perfectly okay. Arrive whatever time you like. Luke's question, first question of the night. Should you have patience when dating? Absolutely, absolutely. A lot of people give up dating very fast because it feels like hard work, it feels challenging, but the real gift of dating comes about when you meet someone where there is a click of shared values and shared sense of adventure and fun and passion and connection to life, and that is worth being patient for. Um, some of some of the things, I spoke about this a few weeks ago when we spoke about online dating for singles, but you can speed up that sorting process of dating by not wasting time on people who don't feel like a good fit. Like if you speak to somebody on an app, you might then line up to have a phone call with them. You might speak to them on the phone and go, something doesn't feel right. Trust that. Don't meet up with them. But then the ones where you feel like, oh, communication's easy, rapport is going well, then meet up. Have a date together. Do something adventurous, whether it's going for a walk somewhere or going somewhere, whether it's roller skating or just not many places you can go at the moment. But I know somebody who had a takeaway Thai dinner that set up a really beautiful romantic setting with tablecloth and candlelight and everything recently. So even though we have restrictions and things are not open, you can still get creative and play with dating, but definitely be patient because the right person might take a little bit of time for you to find. Okay, so after last week's date night about men leading in relationships and what women's role is in that, because it was such a full night and a lot of content, I felt so inspired the next day by all the conversations and sharing and experiences that I went, there's this I could have spoken about, and there's this I could have spoken about, and I kept having all these other ideas that tie into this topic. And so that's why I decided to continue the topic again tonight. But also I've invited Rod to join us for date night next week. He has a Wednesday night men's group. So next week we're going to move date night to Thursday night so that Rod can join us. And when Rod joins us next Thursday night, I'll be asking him to share his perspective as a man on how it feels to lead in a relationship, how it feels to be trusted by his partner, how it feels when I don't trust him, how it feels when I try and take the lead, but also how it feels for him when I bring my feelings, my expression and invitations to him. So for the men who are listening, definitely join next week. That'll be Thursday night next week. We'll do date night and Rod will be here speaking directly to men's experience. And so while we're talking about Rod, that was one of the first things I wanted to share with you about, is that this event itself, having date night on Facebook Live, this was Rod's idea. And the reason this is important for me to share this with you is not because he needs the credit, but it's actually the reason why he suggested it to me that is important. So Rod knows that I have a really big vision to be on world stages and speaking to thousands of people. And speaking to thousands of people, not just for me to be seen and for me to be on stages, but actually empowering people to connect with their hearts, to connect with their bodies, and to develop a deeper understanding of their love, of their sexual energy, and to be able to create meaningful relationships. And so because Rod knows how important that vision is and how how strongly it burns inside of me. When we first went into isolation, he said to me, oh, it'd be a really great time for you to start doing something each week on Facebook Live and, being of service and reaching people. And instantly when he shared that with me, I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's a great idea. I'd love to do that because it gives me the opportunity to be of service, to know what interests people in this whole field of love, intimacy, and relationships, because there are so many subtopics, and part of what I'm doing here is finding out what are the topics that you all really want to know more about. And it gives me the opportunity to practice speaking to different topics and to practice answering questions. So him suggesting this idea to me was also his way of leading and supporting me to step into the bigger vision that he knows is very important for my life. And the idea of the name date night, that was my idea. His alternate suggestion was hump night because it's Wednesday night, but I went, no, I'm going to stick with date night. It's a little bit more online with my kind of branding and my flavor. And so the ways that men can lead are many and varied, and as women, part of the juice in it for us is not that we have to do everything that our partners suggest, because there are times when Rod suggests ideas to me and it doesn't feel right, and I'll be like, no, it doesn't feel right. But if it does feel right, also to be very appreciative. So oftentimes men start to feel that relationships are not worth bothering. A lot of men that I've worked with get to the point where they just go, what's the point of relationships? What's the point of it? Why would I even bother? Because a lot of men have often felt taken for granted or used or taken advantage of, or like women in their life take from them and don't give anything in return. And so part of what I felt was missing from last week's conversation was actually to address that. Like, if a man is leading in a relationship, if he's creating the direction, that's actually quite a strong responsibility for him to carry. And so for the men who might think, well, what's in it for me? This is where women, our role in it comes into play, is to express our gratitude, to express our love, to express our appreciation, and to do that in quite loud and strong ways. So I will quite often say to Rod, thank you so much, that was a great idea, or thank you for holding me when I was feeling that, or thank you for supporting me through this experience. So I share my love, my appreciation, and my gratitude with him in loud, expressive, and big ways, because I know that for a man carrying that sort of responsibility to be directing and leading a woman, it can feel like a lot. But when a woman offers her feminine nourishment, her shine, her radiance, her glow back to the man, then the man starts to feel that it's worth it. There's also part of our feminine sexual energy that is deeply, deeply nourishing to a man. So even letting that sexual aliveness and that sexual radiance be felt by, just even in the way you smile or the way you touch your partner or the way that you move, and to not make sexuality conditional, then becomes part of letting that feminine energy, letting the love flow back in his direction. So that's a really beautiful way for the man to feel that holding that responsibility is counterbalanced by receiving love, nourishment, feminine radiance in response. Hello, Diana. Lovely to see you. Nina says she has a similar vision as well. Do share with me, Nina, what your vision is. Garth says hello. Nina, I love the headline Date Night with Martina. It gives me this special intimate feeling. Yes, acknowledgements are very, very powerful. And I find in the world we live in right now, there's a lot of emphasis on independence, like being our own person. And women have very much been brought up in this time of independence and being strong and taking care of ourselves, which can make it really hard to let a partner in, to let a partner support us, and to actually allow space for a partner to provide leadership and direction. So there is a letting go required by women. And also the part of us that's been taught to be very self-reliant can feel quite challenged about expressing gratitude and appreciation, because we can be frightened to let a man know how much he means to us. But it's that gratitude and appreciation that makes all the difference for a man, and will have a man want to keep on showing up for us, to be there for us, to love us, to protect us, and to provide for us in all of the ways that he can. I want to take you into another short practice now. So if you'd like to make yourself comfortable, and this practice is going to be connecting with your own masculine and your own feminine energy and creating an internal experience with both of them. So making yourself comfortable, closing your eyes, taking some deep breaths again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And I want you all to begin to imagine, whether you're a man or a woman, begin to imagine your internal masculine energy. Feel the capacity of your internal masculine. Feel the strength, the potency. Feel that ability to provide, to protect. The capacity for clarity, direction, focus. Breathing into your internal masculine energy. Having a sense of the unique flavors of your masculine energy. And seeing the ways that your masculine energy wants to be of service. And then staying connected to your masculine energy, we're just going to direct the masculine energy to the back of your body. So letting that masculine energy still be present, and it's present in the back of your body, so that your spine, your back, your neck, there's that sense of your masculine energy, still, steadfast, strong, and clear in the back of your body. And then breathing in your feminine energy, feeling the part of you that wants to open to flow, to express, to connect, to feel, to expand. The intuitive, nourishing part of you. Breathing into your feminine energy. You might feel a desire to move. You might feel a desire to connect. And breathing your feminine energy right through the front of your body. Feeling her, breathing her in. And then imagine your feminine energy. She's in the front of your body. Letting her just lean back into your masculine energy. And letting your feminine be held by your internal masculine. So whether you're a man or whether you're a woman, you'll have internal masculine and internal feminine. Just letting your internal feminine rest back into your internal masculine. Having a sense of the feminine and the masculine. Breathing each other in. The masculine holding the feminine. And the feminine flowing energy through her body to him. The feminine softening, the feminine trusting his capacity to hold, to protect. And him drinking in this beautiful flow of nourishing feminine energy through her body. And then thanking your internal feminine and your internal masculine for being here. And knowing you can come back and visit them at any time. Just opening your eyes and coming back to the space. I'm going to take a little spoonful of my pumpkin soup. And if you'd like to type into the chat box anything that you felt or noticed during the practice, I'd love to hear from you. I'm not sure whether Andy or Helen or both have written this, but there's a comment saying it can be difficult for women too in allowing men to lead. They are so well attuned to leading themselves that often men seem content to stay in the background. Absolutely, it's a real challenge for women to let go of leading ourselves. It's a real challenge to lean in and trust. And what we need to do as women is become really confident, comfortable, and really open with expressing our feelings. The more we express our feelings, the more we're inviting a man to come out of the background to be able to lead. So some of you will have heard me share this before, but when Rod and I started dating, if I was in the car with him, I wouldn't touch any of the car dials. I'd simply go, oh, it's a bit cold in here, and he would adjust the heating. Or I'd go, oh, it's hot in here, and he would put the cooling on. So I practiced a lot of simply expressing my feelings without providing for my own needs. So by expressing my feelings, it gave Rod a lot of opportunity to provide for me, to take care of me, to be there for me. So in that way, he started to, know on a physical level what my needs and comforts and discomforts were, so that he could take care of those things, which was also really beautiful. And so for us as women, there's a risk and there's a fear in letting go, of course, because we could let go and no one catches us. And because we have such well-developed masculine, it can be really frightening for a woman today to let go in those ways. One thing I came to really see in myself was that if I let go and Rod doesn't catch me, I will still catch myself. That's okay. I don't have to fall. And if Rod doesn't catch me, if Rod misses hearing my feelings, or if he misses my invitation, then I can express how I feel. Ouch, that didn't feel good. Ouch, that was disconnecting. Oh, I feel hurt. I feel sad. You weren't here, and I had to take care of it all on my own. So I can express my feelings without going into blame or judgment, and letting my feelings be part of the inspiration. Because and I think everybody will probably relate to this in some way, when you see or hear somebody expressing vulnerability, that masculine instinct to protect, to take care of, arises. So when a woman in a relationship with a man expresses her feelings and her needs, then the man's like, oh, I want to be there. I want to be the one that takes care of that for her. And if he doesn't respond in those ways, then maybe he's not the right man for her. Yeah, and I guess with what Andy or Helen has written there, some men are content to stay in the background, but a man can still be in the background and be leading a woman. A man can be in the background, but still be offering direction and guidance, so that the woman is still moving forward in her own way, but being guided and directed by him. Okay, I'll come back to the chat box. Robert says, looking forward to listening tonight. We'll be replaying later. Diana says, incredibly held by my masculine. It was lovely. Jonathan says, a wonderful experience. Thank you. Nina says, that was beautiful. Tears falling down. Tears while smiling. Thank you. Ali says, her masculine feels more like a boy. Sian, I felt like I could really sink into my masculine, felt supportive. Ali says, feminine has some hesitancy to recline into his care. Andy, careful about those dials, Martina. We men can be funny about that. Yeah, I still don't touch the dials in the car when Rod's driving. And there's something about that just feels really good, to be like, I'm hot, I'm cold, like, oh, it's too much wind in my hair, whatever it is on the day, and letting, Rod takes care of that for me, which I absolutely love. I think it was Ali that said, I noticed my masculine feels more like a boy. Yeah, that can be really quite common, that the masculine and feminine inside one or both might still feel really quite young. So then there can be some work to do around growing the internal masculine into a more mature version, or growing the internal feminine into a more mature version. My experience with my own masculine and feminine quite early on in this journey, I was very strongly identified with my masculine. So my masculine was very well developed. And then when I first came to the Tantra journey in 2004, so almost 16 years, actually, no. Yes, it was 2004, so almost 16 years ago, I went through an extended period of being immersed in my feminine energy and almost not having access to my masculine for an extended period of time. And so there was something about that that was delightful and nourishing, and my radiance was shining. It was a little difficult on some of the business life managing things front because I was missing things like clarity and focus and direction and decision making, and I had to lean on some others at that time to provide those skills for me and provide input to my life. And I wasn't in a relationship at the time, so yeah, it was extra challenging relying on other people's masculine energies. However, at some point after being immersed for, months and perhaps almost a year even in my feminine energy, there was a point at which I recognized I needed to bring my masculine forward again, but to bring my own masculine forward in a healthy and supportive way, whilst also staying connected and aware of my feminine, not sacrificing one for the other. So there are ways to be able to bring them into greater harmony and alignment. Okay, Lauren says she struggles to cultivate the masculine. What about the remote control TV? Rod has that. I do not touch remote controls where I can help it. Ours is a real pain in the ass, and I have trouble driving it. And I'm happy to acknowledge that. Lauren says, easier for me to rely on a man. Is it important to cultivate masculine? It is important to have our own sense of masculine. The reason for that being that when we don't have that internally, we can experience an imbalance in the way it shows up externally. So a woman with a weak sense of internal masculine will often attract either a dominating masculine in a male partner, or otherwise she'll attract a partner who is also missing the masculine quality and who is much more feminine. So yeah, that can be a little bit of a tricky dance. It's beautiful to be able to lean into the masculine in your partner, but it's also quite healthy to have access to the masculine within yourself. And there are things you can do, like having a closer look at your relationship to structure, to direction, to clarity, to focus, that supports the growth of the internal masculine. Ali says, this is resonating strongly. My early teachers made me feel wrong for being in my masculine. Yeah, it's important to have access to both. It's not about one or the other, but being able to have both. And then what I find in a relationship, I want to be able to lead with my feminine energy in relationship, because that's, and when I say lead with my feminine, it means my feminine is the front or the presenting energy in my relationship. That's the way, my main way of communicating with Rod when it comes to intimacy and our life together as partners. If Rod and I are talking about business together, then we may both be in masculine mode. If we're talking about finances, we could both be in masculine mode. There may also be times, if it's about organizing our finances, where I'm a little more masculine and Rod's a little more feminine. He might be talking about the money that, he wants to spend and the things he wants to do with money, and I might be like looking at our budgets and seeing how we're going to take care of it. So there's place for all the different dynamics to play out. But of course, polarity and sexual attraction happens most naturally when a woman is in her feminine and the man's in his masculine. Here's Andy and Helen. Getting that elusive balance right between masculine and feminine is a real work of art. Something I recall from our weekend retreat. Sometimes I think finding a COVID vaccine might be easier. That's funny. Very, very funny. And yeah, it takes practice and time and playing with it. And even for the couples who are watching, even playing with it, whereby the man might sit in silence and witness his partner dancing, and he might sit in, just being very still and witness his partner dancing, because that's a really beautiful masculine feminine practice, whereby the man being in stillness and in silence, he's in that pure masculine aspect, and the woman dancing and flowing and feeling her body and expressing her radiance through dance. That's a really archetypal feminine expression. So that can be a beautiful way to practice it. And what I find is the more often it's practiced in our relationships, then the more power is developed around that. And yeah, it's also a lot of fun to play with. Ali says, I'd love to know more about creating that harmony. I think you mean the harmony between your internal masculine and feminine. Yeah, that's a little bit off topic tonight, but we have spoken about masculine and feminine in one of the prior sessions. Carlos said, this sounds somewhat traditional. Yes and no. How do I respond to that? So part of what we're looking at here, Carlo, is a deeper quality of relationship. So what I know from working with people and from my own life is that the way people are doing relationship by and large today is not working for people. It's not bringing people the quality of love or connection that they desire. And so women, it's not about women not being not pursuing careers and their lives the way they are, but it's looking at what happens inside the relationship container, and how can a woman be in her feminine energy inside of that relationship container, so that her body, her being, her very essence is communicating a receptivity to her partner, such that then her partner is able to bring clarity, direction, penetration, and opening. And then with that, and of course there are many, many layers to that, and it's part of it's sexual, but part of it's in communication, part of it is in how their lives are woven together. But there's a much deeper magic that's woven between people. It's quite common for people to live side by side and kind of live their own lives whilst living together, but still like independent silos. And that was part of my decision when before I was with Rod, was that my next relationship would be one of co-creating and weaving. And that of course includes exploring these masculine and feminine aspects in ways that are healthy and supportive, not going back to 1950s traditional roles, because that doesn't work. There's nothing about me that says passive housewife, and there's nothing about Rod that says dominating breadwinner. But there are elements of masculine and feminine in a relationship that bring more beauty, more meaning, more depth, and a greater richness to the man and woman. Sherry says, I relate. I often feel unnerved when I find myself having days of being predominantly in my feminine and have difficulty claiming back the masculine. If I can't obtain focus and direction and productivity in my day, I don't feel worthy. So I am noticing the deep conditioning that masculine equals strong, feminine equals weak. It's quite a journey to make friends with my feminine. My masculine has been my safety, comfort, source of self-worth for so long. Yeah, it's good to notice that. One thing that takes a little while for people to fully understand is that masculine is strength feminine is power. So if we look at nature for this, like if we look at the ocean in all of its wildness and power and raw energy, and it can be still, and then it can be flowing, and it can be crashing. Like the ocean is very, very feminine, and there is so much power in that. And then, you know, we look at, let's say the sun. The sun is still. There's a lot of strength in it. There's a lot of direction in it, but it's not necessarily power. It's not doing something. Like the sun is actually unchanging. And so the masculine is much more about stillness and strength. Feminine is about expression and power. And so that was one of the tips I wanted to give people about whether you are being in the feminine or the masculine, is that the masculine energy is directive. So masculine energy will be like, okay, let's do this. Let's go for a drive. Let's paint the house. Let's go out in the garden. Tell me about your day. Tell me what's going on. You know, what's happening here. You know, let's do this. So the masculine is a directive energy. It's the energy that's like, okay, let's do this. Let's do that. The feminine energy, feminine is expressive, like, oh, I feel cold, I feel inspired, I feel excited, I feel nourished, I feel connected, I feel alive, I feel joy, I feel sadness. So and not just feelings, that can be like, you know, oh, I want to change the house and I need to go shopping and I want more clothes. And so the feminine is expressing feelings, color, movement, sound. And so the dance between a man and a woman, for the man to hold the masculine polarity, is holding that energy of leading and directing, is, yeah, okay, let's get someone in to value the house and we'll start checking out houses in the suburb we want to move to. And then the feminine might be like, oh no, it's too much work to get the house ready for sale. I couldn't possibly do that right now. And so then the man can actually then speak to the woman about that, what it looks like, what it feels like. Is there something that she needs to be ready for it? And so this way it honors the strengths of both, because even if a woman's like, no, it's too much work, I couldn't do that now, it's overwhelming, it's too much for me, she's being in her feminine, she's expressing, and then the man can come in with that clarifying masculine energy. Tell me what's going on. Why does it feel so overwhelming? Why is this an issue? What's going on for you around this? And so with that, he gets to then clarify and support her to express all the things she feels. He might even say, is there more that you feel? Do you have more to share? What else do you have on this? So that then she can empty everything out. And it could be that it's about the house. It could be about the family. It could be a fear of letting something go. It might be that something's not right with the children. But when the man holds the space for a woman to express and feel in those ways, then it'll support him to take then whatever the next directional steps are. That's if the man is wanting to embody that directional energy and that masculine space, and if the woman's wanting to embody the feminine expressive space. So sometimes if I'm talking to Rod, and I because my masculine energy is strong, I'm aware that it can be easy for me to slip into direction. And so I'll just even check in with myself and go, am I directing or expressing? And then if I'm directing, it's like, oh, why am I directing? You know, is this an area where I'm stronger than Rod? Or is this an area where I'm not letting go, I'm not trusting him? How would it be if I stepped back to really express? because when I express, I know that Rod feels like I trust him. When he feels trusted, he feels loved. For a man, trust feels like love. And as a woman, it took me quite a while to get how important trust was for men, because I'm like, trust, yeah, it's good. I like being trusted. But trust, to me as a woman, trust is nowhere near as important as love. But over the course of my relationship with Rod, watching it, I came to see that when I trusted him, he felt valued, appreciated, like he's who he is as a man was being fully respected and seen. So I came to see that trust is essential for men. And the more I trust him, then the more he wants to provide for me. And so trusting also looks like not micromanaging. Women often like to micromanage things, Oh, if you could do this for me, but if you could do it this way, this way, this way. But if we try and micromanage, if we try and control how a man does something, he doesn't feel trusted. So part of the letting go for a woman needs to be letting go and leaving him to do it his way, knowing that his way will be different to ours, that ours isn't right. It isn't wrong, but also his isn't right, his isn't wrong. We will each have our own ways of doing things, and both are valuable. But if you want a man to take care of directing and leading decisions in the relationship, trust him to make the decisions in his way, and don't be watching over his shoulder and checking up on every little thing he's doing, because micromanaging is definitely not trust. Garth says, I have much to learn, Martina. Theodore says, I love and deeply resonate with your beautiful sharing on conscious relating by weaving and dancing of the feminine and masculine in co-creation rather than the 1950s archaic style of relating. Danny says yes, which I think was probably in relation to the trust comment. Theodore says, another truth bomb, trust is a huge one to feel safe. Yeah, absolutely. And trust goes much, much deeper than the fidelity question. People often think that trust is about fidelity and whether you're going to be faithful, and of course that is part of it. But what I see with men is that men want to be trusted and respected for who they are, and to not have a woman going, what are you feeling now? What's going on now? Why are you doing that? Because when a man feels like a woman's checking up on him, that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel inspiring. And it also doesn't invite him to be the best version of himself. So I'm going to start to bring it to a close there. If anybody has any questions, any comments before I finish up, please feel free to type them into the chat box. Another beautiful example for Rod and I around him leading in our relationship, which ties into the first example I used tonight, was Rod researched podcasting equipment, and he's like, yeah, I think it'd be really good for us to do a podcast together and get some of these messages out into the world. So we have some podcasting equipment, which is very high quality podcasting equipment that he researched and found the best equipment for us, so that when we do start recording our podcasts, we're going to have a really high quality of sound and experience to share with others, and another way of getting these messages out into the world so that more men and women can start to make a difference in their lives and relationships. And yes, Nina, next week is Thursday night, so it'll be date night on Thursday night with Martina and Rod will be speaking about leading in relationships. from a man's perspective. So yes, definitely next Thursday. For any of the single people watching, please, come and join Date Night for Singles. That is a $35 fee. It's a 2.5 hour event. It's going to be packed full of value and options for you to learn something about yourself, to learn something about how you date, relate, and connect with others, and also to possibly meet some new people. I haven't done things like age and interest matching because the idea is that yes, you meet some new people. They might be people you're interested in dating. They might not be, but the idea is to be able to practice some energetic experiences and try something new, have some different conversations with the opposite sex. So there might be people who are suitable for dating, there might not be, but there definitely will be new things you can learn and new ways of being for your life. Also, I have Blossoming Woman Level 1 and Relationship Tools for Men Level 1. Both those events are coming up in July as 2-day online workshops. So with those, we go from 10 to 1 in the morning and then 2 to 5 in the afternoon. So it's 4 sessions over 2 days, and there's a combination of sharing and practices and teachings from me and things that you can take forward in your life to really make a difference. So if you're wanting to go more deeply with this work, if you're interested in what I've been saying and you'd like to understand more about it, I highly recommend that you join for one of the Level 1 workshops in July. The details of those are up on the website at tantricblossoming.com on the events calendar page. And if you sign up between tonight and Friday, you will receive a free copy of either Tantra for Men or Tantra for Women, our online course. So thank you all for joining me. I'm loving the community growing around our Wednesday nights. Do remember it's Thursday night next week, but Joanne and I will do a few posts and emails so that you remember. Ali says, can we get a replay of the last one? So Ali, if you scroll down my Facebook wall, you will find the last one. It's listed on my Facebook page. So I hope that helps, and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. Good night.